Lab final. Please read the exam paper a couple of times before you start the experiment. Now, the first part, determine the center of gravity of the ruler by balancing it on a pivot. It has been done, and I'm going to take it and zoom it onto the camera so that you can determine the value of G. What is the value of G? Now, you must understand that the value of G is where the ruler balances, and this is where it balances. So you can read that now very well. So mark that as the position of G. Okay? Since you will be required to measure distances in this exam, I want you to measure the distance, measure the length of this 30 centimeter ruler and work out your conversion factor. Alright, do that now. Measure the length of this ruler on your computer screen. The actual length is 30 centimeter and work out your conversion factor. In number 2, we have balanced the ruler at the 60 centimeter mark. I have balanced the ruler at the 60 centimeter mark by suspending a mass of 100 gram from the point C. So this is now the point C. Measure the distance of C from the 60 centimeter mark. So this is the distance X. I want you to measure this distance now. Remember, all the distances you measure must be multiplied by the conversion factor. Alright, measure this distance. That is your first X. Okay, so you have one value of X, and you will now be suspending masses from the center of gravity. That means for the value of X you now measured, the mass suspended from the center of gravity is 0. Now, suspend a mass m equal to 20 gram from the center of gravity and measure the new X. I have a mass of 20 grams suspended from the center of gravity, and now measure the new X. Alright, measure this X value. Measure this X value. That is the X value when the mass suspended is 20 gram. Okay. Now the mass at the center of gravity is 40 gram, and measure the new X. Alright, measure this X when the mass is 40 gram. There you go. Alright, now the mass at the center of gravity is 60 gram, and measure the new X value. Measure this X value. Okay. Now we change the mass to 80 gram to measure the X value again. Now the mass is 80 gram, and measure the new X value. Measure that X value. Okay. The mass at the center of gravity is now 100 gram. Measure the new distance X. Okay. This is the new distance X. The mass has been changed to 120 gram, and now measure the new X. That is your new x. Okay. The mass hanging from the center of gravity has now been changed to 140 gram, and measure the new x value. Okay. Now the mass is 160 gram, and measure the new x. There you are. Okay. The mass now is 180 gram, and measure the new x value. Okay. Finally, the mass at the center of gravity is 200 gram, and measure the new x value. There we are. Okay. Well, read the questions carefully, answer them all well. If you have difficulty drawing diagrams on the computer, you can draw them on a plain sheet of paper, either scan them and upload, or simply put them in an envelope and send them to me. But you must do that quickly because I need to get them before the deadline for the grades. All right? Okay. I hope you enjoyed this lab course. All right? I wish you all the best.